Just go, Rachel snapped, pointing down the hall. Go sleep on the couch. Rachel, come on, I said, standing there in the doorway. It's not even about the thermostat. You know that? She turned, eyes blazing. You don't listen. You never listen. I said the bedroom's mine tonight. You're kicking me out of our bed over a fan setting? She scoffed. No, I'm asking you to give me peace. Something I barely get in this house anymore. Stood there for a second too long. She slammed the door in my face. The hallway echoed for a moment, then went still. I stared at the door, half hoping she'd open it. She didn't, so I walked down the hall, quiet, slow. The couch creaked as I sat, no pillow, no blanket. Just me, the hum of the refrigerator, the faint ache in my chest. I lay back and stared at the ceiling. This wasn't the first fight. It wasn't even the worst one. But somehow, it felt like the most final. I turned onto my side. Cushions were lumpy, the air cold. She didn't even throw me a blanket. I whispered, she really doesn't care anymore. My phone buzzed. A work email. I ignored it. I grabbed my hoodie from the back of the chair, pulled it over me and curled up. But I didn't sleep. All I could think about was how far we'd drifted. The woman I married, where had she gone, and me? Had I become just a guy warming a couch in his own house? Morning sunlight crept in. I got up quietly, padded to the kitchen, started the coffee. Rachel walked in 30 minutes later, scrolling her phone. She didn't look up. Morning, I said. Did you sleep okay? She opened the fridge. Fine. We sat in silence, her scrolling. My coffee. Look, I said. About last night, don't. I just think. I said don't. She looked at me, tired. I don't. Want to rehash things? I just want quiet. You want quiet? I asked. You want me silent, distant, and invisible. That's what you really want. She didn't respond. Rachel, do you even see me anymore? She put down her cup. See someone who doesn't change? Someone who talks, but never listens. That's not fair. She crossed her arms. You used to try. Now all you do is survive the day and expect a trophy. I blinked. A trophy? You think that's what I want? For not leaving. Told me to sleep on the couch, I said, voice low, because I needed space. You've had space for months. She turned away. I stared at her back. Her silence. Her distance. You know what hurts? I said. It's not the couch. It's knowing I could disappear tomorrow, and you wouldn't even flinch. Still, nothing in me shifted. Not anger, just finality. Okay, I said softly. Message received. She glanced over. What's that supposed to mean? It means I'm done asking to be seen. David, no, don't. You made your choice. And last night, that couch made. Mine? She frowned. You're being dramatic, maybe, I said. But this marriage turned into a monologue. And I'm tired of playing the audience. I left the room. Not slamming doors, not yelling. Just done. That night I didn't wait for her to say anything. I grabbed my pillow, a blanket, went to the couch again, and I lay there, not in defeat but with a plan forming. If she didn't want me in her bed, then maybe she didn't deserve to have me in her life. I took the trash out later than usual. I didn't want to run into Rachel. She was in the kitchen when I left. The world was fine. The lid slammed shut behind me, and that's when I heard it. Sorry. A shoulder bumped mine. A bag of recyclables hit the pavement. My bad, I said, bending down to help. She crouched too. That was me. I wasn't looking. I glanced up. Brown eyes, messy bun, oversized hoodie. Camilla, she said, holding out a hand. David, you live next door? I nodded. Yeah, just over that fence. She laughed lightly. Didn't think we'd meet this way. I'm usually not this clumsy. I usually don't run into married men holding trash. I froze. She raised an eyebrow. You looked panicked for a second. I'm just tired. Long day? Long year? She looked at me for a beat. Coffee. I hesitated. No thanks. I should head back. No worries, she said quickly. Brain. Check. Maybe. I turned and walked back to the house. Rachel didn't look up when I walked in. Where were you? Taking out the trash. She rolled her eyes. Took you long enough. I said nothing. Next day, I saw Camilla watering her plants. She smiled. Still tired? Still married? She chuckled. That bad? You ever sleep on a couch that used to be yours but now feels like exile? She tilted her head. You want to talk about it? I looked away. Not really, but you kind of do. I exhaled. Maybe still not ready for that coffee? I didn't say no forever. Good. I make a strong cup. Over the next few days, we saw each other often. Walking the dog, carrying groceries, picking up mail. Each time, she had something light to say. Each time, I gave a little more of myself away. You always wear that hoodie? She asked once. Hides the circles under my eyes. I think you hide more than that. I probably do. You should stop. I don't know how. That's a start. We stood on her porch one evening. I'm not trying to pry, she said. I know. You just look like someone who hasn't been heard in a long time. I laughed under my breath. That obvious? She nodded, loud and clear. You ever feel invisible in your own house? Yes, she said. That's why I left mine. I looked at her. You divorced? 5 years now? Sorry. Must have been rough. It was. Then it wasn't. What changed? I remembered I matter. That one hit deep. I didn't say anything. She didn't push. Still no 2 coffee? She asked. I sighed. All right, 1 cup. Come in. Her place smelled like cinnamon and lavender. Light music played in the background. You live alone? Mostly my niece visits. Sometimes my sister crashes here after bad dates. Sounds warm. She poured 2 mugs and handed me 1. We sat at the kitchen table. She didn't ask questions, just sat with me. You don't even know me, I said. Maybe I don't have to. I looked at her. What do you see? Someone tired? Someone trying? Someone afraid to say they're hurting? I took a sip. You're good at this? I'm not trying to be. That night, I walked back to my house. Rachel was asleep. The couch was waiting. I sat down slowly. Coffee still warm in my hands. Camilla didn't fix anything. But for the first time in months, I felt like I wasn't invisible. And that scared the hell out of me. Are you going out? I asked, watching her slip on heels she hadn't worn in years. Rachel didn't answer. Rachel? She grabbed her purse without looking at me. Don't wait up. Where are you going? Out? With who? She paused, turned slightly. Does it matter? It does to me. Well, it doesn't to me. The door slammed behind her. I stood there, heart hollow. Same house, same silence. Later that night, I heard the garage. Door open, she walked past me like I was furniture. You could have texted. You could have stopped asking, are you seeing someone? She laughed once cold. Do you care? I sleep on the couch. I think I care a lot more than you do. Then maybe you should do more than mope around here. I go to work. I pay the bills. You exist, David. That's it. Wow. She went upstairs. Door closed. Again. Walked to the driveway and sat in the car. It was quieter there. Sad how even my own house didn't feel like mine. The next morning, she walked past me on her phone. I asked, you working today? She didn't answer. Is that too much to ask? Kept walking. Later at work, my manager called me in. David, everything all right at home? Why? You've been late 3 times this week? Missed a deadline yesterday? I'm dealing with some things. Whatever it is, fix it, or take some time off. I nodded. Got it. I didn't fix it. I drove around after work. Didn't want to go home. Didn't want to see her face. Didn't want to see her ignoring mine. Eventually, parked down the street. Engine off. Music low. I leaned my seat back. I fell asleep. In my own car, when I woke up it was almost midnight. I walked into the house, quietly. She was already asleep upstairs. Not a word. The next night, I did the same. Then again, soon. I kept a blanket in the back seat. No one noticed, no one cared. Camilla saw me one evening, was climbing out of the car. "You okay?" she asked. "Yeah, just needed air." "You look like you slept in there." I shrugged. "Better than the couch." She frowned. "That bad, huh?" I didn't answer. She stepped forward. "You want to sit for a minute? I just made tea." I hesitated, then nodded. We sat on her porch steps. I used to do the same. She said, "Sleep in your car?" "No. Hide from my house." "That's what it feels like," I said. "Hiding from my own wife." "Why stay?" "Because I remember the version of her I married, and I keep hoping she'll come back." She looked at me gently. "Sometimes they don't, I know." She handed me a mug. "So what are you really waiting for?" "I don't know." "You?" "Do," I sighed. "I guess I'm waiting for the day I stop feeling guilty for giving up." She didn't reply. She didn't need to. Later that night, I stared out the window of my living room. Rachel's voice upstairs, laughing. Not with me. Never with me then. I looked outside. Camilla's porch light was still on, warm still, inviting, and for the first time, wished I lived there instead. I didn't go looking for a house, I was just walking. Rachel was inside, yelling at the cable company again. I needed to breathe. I passed the little blue house next to Camilla's, saw the open house sign and figured why not.
The front door
Was open. "Hey there," a man said. "Looking to buy?" "No," I replied. "Just walking by." He smiled. "That's how it starts." I stepped inside. "It smelled like fresh paint and lemon, Don," he said, extending a hand. "I'm the agent, David. Nice to meet you, David. You live nearby?" I nodded. "Next door." "Well, that's great. You already know the neighborhood." "I do." He motioned down the hall. "Feel free to look around. It's staged, but livable. Just came on the market last week." I wandered toward the back. The living room had sunlight, real sunlight, not filtered through. Blinds and bitterness. I walked into the master bedroom and stopped. Large window. Soft wood floors. No shouting, no tension, just air. "You okay?" Don asked, leaning in the doorway. I turned. "Yeah, just. Haven't stood in a room this quiet in a long time." He tilted his head. "Married?" I nodded slowly, kind of. He didn't press. He just walked over and stood beside me. "You see that?" He pointed out the window. "That's your current house. This could be your reset." I wasn't planning to move. People rarely are when they need. To most, I exhaled. It's crazy. I was taking out the trash when I met my neighbor. Then today, I wander in here, and something clicks. I looked at him. "How'd you know?" "I've been doing this a long time. People don't fall in love with granite counters. They fall in love with escape." I stayed silent. He smiled.
What?
"Come on, let me show you the kitchen." I followed. Him. "Big window over the sink," he said. "You'd be surprised how much peace that brings. Watching the world while you wash the past off your hands? Poetic. I've watched a lot of people rebuild." "Divorced?" I asked. He nodded twice. "Damn." He shrugged. "Used to think that meant I failed. Now I think it means I grew twice." I leaned against the island. "I sleep in my car sometimes." He didn't react. "Can't stand the couch. Can't stand the silence." Dawn nodded. "So why are you still there?" "I thought marriage was about fighting through it." "It is," he said. "But only if both people are fighting." I stared at the window. "I don't even think she notices I'm gone." He reached into his folder and pulled out a sheet. "Here," he said. "Just look." No pressure. I took it. The price wasn't insane. My credit was clean. I had savings. Could I really? Just buy the house next door? Dawn grinned. "You could. And she wouldn't even see it coming." He laughed. "That part's up to you." I folded the paper. "I need to think. Take your time. But remember, some doors are only open for a little while." I stepped outside and looked at the porch. It felt like a new chapter. Camilla's porch light flicked on. She waved. I waved back. Rachel's blinds were shut. I looked back at the house one more time. Hell with it. It walked back in. Don raised an eyebrow. Change your mind? Yeah, let's do it. He smiled wide. Smart choice. I don't know if it's smart, then it's brave. We sat at the table. He slid papers toward me. I picked up the pen, and with one signature. I stopped waiting to be saved. I started saving myself, working late again. Rachel called from the kitchen. Yeah, I said, slipping my laptop bag. Over my shoulder, she didn't look up. Figures. I walked out the front door, keys in hand. Just not to the house, she thought. By noon, I was across the street at my new place. Don met me inside with a stack of documents. You ready to make it real? He asked. I nodded, more than ready. He laid the final papers on the counter. Initial here, sign there. I moved the pen slowly. This feels like more than a closing. It is, Don said. It's a beginning. The pen scratched. Across the page, just like that, I was a homeowner again. But this time, I wasn't sharing it with someone who pretended I didn't exist. You want the keys now? He asked. Yeah. He placed them in my hand. Welcome home. Stared at them for a second. Feels weird, I said. Freedom usually does. I laughed. It still has that fresh paint smell. Enjoy it. You earned this. I walked the empty rooms for a while. It was quiet, but not lonely. It was mine. I went back that night like nothing happened. Rachel was on the couch, wine glass in hand, scrolling her phone. You eat? I asked. Yeah, okay. She glanced up. You smell like dust. Warehouse was hot. Loaded boxes all day. She hummed, unimpressed. I walked upstairs and grabbed my suitcase from the closet. Why are you packing? She shouted from below. Work trip, might be a couple nights. She didn't ask where, didn't ask why. Instead, she said, Can you take the trash out before you go? I laughed under my breath. Sure, I slid shirts into the bag. My jeans, my shaving kit, my charger. In the garage, I quietly loaded up my tools. The next morning, slipped out before she woke up. Camilla was on her porch with coffee. You did it, she said. I smiled. I did. You look lighter, I feel. You moving in now? Piece by piece. Don't want her noticing too fast. Camilla nodded. How's it feel? Like I finally stopped shrinking. Over the next few days, I moved everything I wanted to keep. A box of records, my old camera, photo of my dad. Rachel didn't ask about any of it. I came and went like a ghost, and she didn't notice. On Thursday, she looked up from her tablet. You been working late a lot? Yeah. You coming back tonight? Maybe. I poured myself water. I've been working on something important. She raised an eyebrow. Like what? Just something that matters. She didn't press, didn't care enough to follow up. That night, I sat. On the back deck of my new house, the breeze hitting my face. Camilla walked over with 2 beers. Celebrating, sort of. You tell her yet? No? Why? She stopped listening months ago. She handed me a bottle, and you. I stopped trying last week. She sat next to me. I'm proud of you, you know. I didn't do much. You left the couch. That's everything. I looked across the yard. The porch light at Rachel's place flicked on, but I didn't feel drawn to it. Not anymore. I turned back to Camilla. You know, I said she still doesn't know the couch was the last straw. Good, she said. She doesn't deserve. The story, the sun was brutal, but I didn't care. Sweat soaked through my shirt as I carried another box up the steps of my new front porch. Need help? Camilla called from her yard. I smirked. Only if you're offering free AC, she laughed. You'll survive. I stepped inside, set the box down, and came back for another. That's when I heard her. What the hell are you doing? Up, Rachel was standing on her porch, arms crossed, fire in her eyes. Unpacking, I said calmly. Over there? Yep, you bought that house? I nodded. Sure did. She blinked. Are you kidding me? You didn't say anything. I I didn't think you'd notice. She stepped down to the sidewalk, walking closer. Is this some kind of game? No game, I said. I just got tired of sleeping on the couch. She flinched. You thought moving out next door was the answer? I thought having space was the answer. Turns out it is. You didn't even talk to me about this. I tilted my head. When's the last time you talked to me? She opened her mouth, closed it. Exactly, I said. You're being dramatic. No, I'm being done. She stared at the boxes on the lawn. So this is real. Signed the papers last week. She scoffed. You've been sneaking? Around? No. I've been packing quietly. While you were too busy scrolling or going out, you're being spiteful and being silent. You're the one yelling. She stepped closer. We're married. Are we? Her voice softened. You're really doing this? I already did it. I don't get it. Why next door? I shrugged. It was convenient, familiar, close enough to remind you I'm not on the couch anymore. Her eyes narrowed. This about Camilla? No, I said. It's about me. For once, she looked hurt, confused, angry, all at once. You could have said something? I did. Every night you ignored me. My alarm buzzed at 6 o'clock at M. No one yelled at me to turn it off. No one rolled away in disgust. I got up, made the bed, laced my sneakers, and hit the gym back again. The front desk girl asked. Trying to be consistent, I said, You're doing better than most? Oh, I pushed myself harder than I had in years. Sweat cleared out thoughts I didn't need. Pain reminded me I was still alive. By 7:30, I was home. My home, showered, coffee made. Jazz on in the background. I cleaned the kitchen, organized tools in the garage. Built a shelf for no reason other than I could. Every nail I hammered into the wall felt like therapy. I wasn't running from Rachel. I wasn't chasing Camilla. I was building a life where I didn't have to explain myself to anyone at 8 p.m. There was a knock at my door. I opened it. Camilla stood there with a container in her hands. You cook? I asked. Sometimes. What is it? Homemade chicken pot pie. I stepped aside. You had me at pot. She laughed and walked in. You didn't look like you were eating much last week. I've been figuring things out, I noticed. You sat at the small dining table I had assembled 2 days ago. She took a bite. You look different? Different. How? Stronger? Lighter? Like you breathe differently now. I think I do. She smiled. Is it weird being so close to her? Not anymore. Have you talked? Briefly? And she doesn't recognize me. She will. I'm not sure I care. She leaned in.
Ass. Gross.
I'm not angry at her, I said quietly. Even better. I looked around the room. This place was empty when I got it. I think I was too. You're not anymore. No, I said. I'm not. She tapped the table. I don't want to intrude, but your lights are always on. You keep moving, building, cleaning. Looks like you're trying to stay. Ahead of something, I probably am. What? The version of me that stayed too long in silence. She nodded slowly. Don't have to explain it to me, I know. Still, she said, I brought food, not therapy. Laughed. She stayed another hour. We didn't talk about Rachel again when she left. Stood at the door and watched her walk back to her house. Rachel's lights were off. I looked at my reflection in the glass. I didn't flinch for the first time in a long time. I liked the man looking back at me. I was watering the plants when I heard her voice. So you're just done? I turned. Rachel stood on the sidewalk, arms folded tight across her chest. You're just neighbors now? She asked. I set the hose down. Looks that way. That's it? After everything? Shh. You made your choice. I didn't choose this. You chose silence. She blinked. You didn't fight for us. I did. For years. You just weren't listening. She stepped closer. So that's it. You just move out. Move on. Move next door. That's hardly running. It feels like punishment. No, it's peace. She looked down. Do you even care what happens to us? I used to, I said. But you stopped looking at me like I mattered. You stopped showing up like you did. I nodded. Maybe we both got tired. Her voice softened. Do you miss me? No. Her mouth opened, then closed. You told me to sleep on the couch, I added. Eventually, I listened. Looked like she wanted to cry or scream, maybe both. I was angry, she said. That night. We're always angry. I didn't mean it to end like this. I know. I don't even know who you are anymore. I looked her dead in the eyes. That makes two of us. She took a shaky breath. So you're done talking to me? I don't have anything. Left to say, she nodded slowly. Okay. Then she turned and walked away. I watched her go. I didn't stop her. Went back inside. The kitchen smelled like garlic and thyme. Camilla looked up from the stove. Everything all right? Yeah, just Rachel being Rachel. She seems rattled. She's not used to me choosing myself. Camilla smiled softly. You hungry? Starving? She handed me a plate. Try this. I took a bite. Okay. Wow, she laughed. Told you. We ate at the table I'd built. It's no tension. It's no heavy silence. Just the soft hum of good music and better company. I'm glad you called, she said. I'm glad you said yes. Camilla tilted her head. You look lighter. Maybe I am. Is that the first real conversation you've had with her? Since I moved? Yeah? Closure? Not exactly, I said, but it was honest. She raised her glass. It's too honesty then, to finally saying the things I kept inside. We clinked glasses. Later we played cards. On the floor, like kids, we laughed a lot. No one stormed off. No one rolled their eyes. No one weaponized silence. It wasn't about falling for Camilla. It was about remembering joy as the night settled. I walked her to the door. She paused. Thank you for letting me in. Thank you for knocking. She smiled and walked across. The lawn, I didn't look over at Rachel's window. It was dark, and I didn't care. My phone buzzed. Rachel, can we talk? Rachel. I didn't mean it, Rachel. I miss us. I didn't reply, not because I wanted to hurt her, because I had nothing left to give. Later that night, a knock came at the door. I opened it. Rachel stood there, arms wrapped around herself, mascara streaked. You're really not going to answer me? I just did. She exhaled. I'm trying here. You're late. I was angry. I said things I didn't mean. You meant them when you said them. I didn't know you'd actually leave. You told me to sleep on the couch. Why? Didn't tell you to move out? You didn't tell me to stay either? Her voice cracked. I thought you'd fight for me. Stepped outside. You think silence is something to fight for? I was hurting too. You never said that? You never asked? I did. You just rolled your eyes. Her lip trembled. I didn't know how to talk. I nodded, so you chose to. Ignore me instead. I didn't want to lose us. You did anyway. She stared down. You look ... different. I feel different. You've changed. Peace will do that. She hesitated. Do you still love me? I looked her in the eyes. I loved the version of you that didn't punish me for breathing too loud. Double quotes, her face broke. That's not fair. Neither was asking me to sleep in the cold while you went to bed like I didn't exist. I didn't know you were that hurt. I was silent, just like you taught me to be. She took a shaky breath. So that's it?
I'm
Not angry anymore, Rachel. I just don't need the war. She stepped closer. I want to fix it. I already did, I said. By walking away from the couch. It's from the life you locked me out of. Tears filled her eyes. I didn't mean to lose you. You didn't lose me, I said gently. You gave me away. She shook her head. I didn't think you'd stop trying. I didn't think you'd stop seeing me. Silence. Then she whispered, Are you seeing someone? I'm seeing myself. For the first time in years. That's not an answer. It's the only one I owe you. Voice fell. Does she make you happy? She makes me feel visible. She swallowed hard. Was I that bad? We're both bad, I said. But only one of us was willing to own it. She looked toward her house. I walk in there and it feels ... empty. I know the feeling. She stepped back. So, This is it. Was it the moment you stopped being my safe place? She nodded slowly. By then. I opened the door. Take care of yourself. Will you think of me? I'll remember what I learned, I said. She wiped her cheek. You used to chase me. I used to chase a lot of things, I said. Now, I just protect my peace. Rachel turned and walked away slower than usual. I didn't watch her go. I closed the door and locked it. Not because I hated her, because I loved myself more now. And that was enough. Camilla brought soup again. I didn't cook, she said, handing it over. But I heated it like a pro, I chuckled. I'll allow it. She leaned against the porch railing. Mind if I sit? Not at all. We ate under quiet skies, no yelling, no tension, no pretending. Just stars and 2 chairs on a porch I finally called mine. You ever just breathe and realize you hadn't been in years? I asked. All the time, she said softly. Usually when I'm around you. I looked over, she smiled. It wasn't flirty, it was real. Thanks for not asking what happened. I figured if you wanted to talk, you would. I wanted to talk for years, I muttered. To someone, she sipped her tea, then talk. Now, I paused. Why didn't I leave sooner? She didn't blink. Why didn't you? I stared at the stars, because I thought being ignored was better than being alone. That's heavy. Yeah. She leaned in. You weren't alone. You were just waiting to remember you mattered, I exhaled. Do I? To me you do? That stopped me cold. Camilla stood. You don't owe me a response. You didn't come here for one? I came to return your Tupperware. I smiled. Of course. She turned to go, then paused. You really do look different. I feel different. Good. Hesitated. Camilla? Why'd you start bringing dinner? 'Cause your lights were always on. That's it? It's maybe because I got tired of watching? Someone good fade away? You think I'm good? She looked at me. I think you forgot you were. Silence. Then I said, I used to laugh more. You still can. I used to believe love fixed things. It doesn't. No, it reveals them. I nodded slowly. You're smart, not smart, just bruised. We both laughed. At that, I don't know what this is, I said quietly. US. It doesn't have to be anything, but it feels like something. She smiled gently. Then let it feel like something. No pressure. No performance. I let the moment sink in. You ever wish someone had just said, I see you? I asked. All the time? Guess that's what this feels like? Just step closer, then don't run from it. I'm not ready for anything. And be ready for peace. That landed hard. I blinked. You're not like anyone I've met. I get that a lot. I smirked. Is that your line? Just my truth. The porch light flickered above us. I should get that fixed, I said. Or leave it. It's kind of your thing now. What? Broken porch light. No. A light that still shines even when it flickers. Stared at her. She looked away. That was cheesy, wasn't it? A little, I smiled, but I needed to hear it. She leaned in. You're allowed to be okay. I nodded. I think I finally am. She handed me the empty bowl. Same time tomorrow? Only if you don't burn the garlic bread again. Deal. Camilla walked down the steps. Just before she disappeared, she turned and said, You're not the man. Who slept on the couch anymore? I stood there for a moment, her words circling my heart like fireflies. She was right. I wasn't that man anymore. I was the man who chose peace, the man who chose himself. And for the first time in years, I didn't. Look back, she texted. Can we talk before we sign? I replied one last time. I stepped into the house I once paid for, once loved in, once felt invisible inside. The air smelled like lavender and loneliness.
Later, Rachel sat at the dining table, the one we bought together but rarely ate at. She looked up slowly. You came.
Asked, she gestured to the seat across from her. Please. I didn't sit right away. I just stared at the room, the photos gone, the silence loud. You've changed, she said quietly. So have you. She tried to smile. Do you hate me? No, she blinked. That surprises me. I'm not angry anymore, Rachel. I'm just done. Her eyes welled. We were good once. We were, I nodded, but I was never good enough for you when it mattered. That's not fair. I leaned forward, isn't it? She looked down at the papers between. Us? You really bought the house next door? You made it easy to leave. She swallowed. I didn't think you'd actually go. That was your mistake. Rachel reached for a pen. Her hand shook. Are you happy? I'm healing. Is that a yes? It's a start. She placed the pen down. I wasn't trying to hurt you, you know. But you did. I was tired. So was I. I thought you'd fight harder. I laughed once, bitter and low. You told me to sleep on the couch. She winced. I took the hint. Rachel. Her voice cracked. You were always quiet when it counted, and you were always loud when it didn't. Silence. She slid the papers toward me. So this, is it? It already was. This is just the signature. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Did you love me? More than I loved myself. That was the problem. Tears ran down her cheek. Did I ever love you right? I think you loved. The version of me that didn't need anything? She sobbed quietly. I picked up the pen. Wait, she said suddenly. I froze. For what? One more memory? I shook my head. We don't need another memory. We need a conclusion, I signed. She flinched as the pen scratched across the final line. No drama, no yelling. Just ink in a silence that weighed more than years of marriage. I stood. She didn't. Goodbye, I said softly. I'll miss you, she whispered. I nodded once. Take care of yourself, and I walked out. No glances back, no second thoughts, no regrets that night. Stood on my new porch. One step higher, one streetlight brighter. The wind brushed past my collar. I looked up at the stars and exhaled. For the first time, I wasn't her husband anymore, and that felt right. Morning, Camilla called from the living room. Morning, I replied. Stirring my coffee, she was sitting cross-legged on the rug with her niece, surrounded by puzzle pieces. Laughter spilled between them like sunlight. You're cheating, the little girl giggled. Camilla grinned. I prefer the term improvising. I leaned on the counter, watching them. No tension, no walking on eggshells, no pretending. My phone buzzed on the table, Rachel. I stared at the name for a second, not with anger, not with hurt, just stillness. Then I flipped the phone over. Camilla looked up. Everything okay? Yeah, I smiled. Everything's perfect. She raised an eyebrow. You sure? You made a weird face. I laughed. Just muscle memory. It's fading. She didn't press. I turned to the window and looked out. The old house stood still. Same porch, same blinds, same emptiness. A memory frozen in place. Camilla's niece called out, Uncle, can you help with the sky pieces? I smiled. That's the hardest part, but I'm in. I walked over and dropped to the floor beside them. You always start with the corners, I said. Why? Guess. Even when things feel like a mess, you need to find the edges first. Camilla looked at me, half smiling. That's deep. I shrugged. I've been through some stuff. She nudged me with her elbow. You're not that mysterious, oh, you have no idea. We laughed again. My phone buzzed a second time. Rachel again. Camilla noticed, but said nothing. I reached for the remote and turned on soft music instead. You okay? Yeah, I said. It's just... ... Sometimes the past tries to knock, but I don't live there anymore. She nodded slowly. That's fair. We worked in silence for a bit. The puzzle was half done, but the living room felt whole. I glanced at my bookshelf. My books. My records. My chair. My coffee mug. Everything here belonged.
Us.
Including me. You know, Camilla said, I used to wonder why you never looked over. I tilted my head, looked over, at your old house, and nodded, because I was too. Busy building something better? She smiled. And did you? Yeah, I said softly. I really did. There was a time I thought happiness had to be begged for, earned through suffering, tolerated through silence, but not anymore. Camilla stood and walked to the kitchen. "Dinner tonight? I'll cook," I said. She looked surprised. "You cook? I've improved. You burned grilled cheese last time." "That was a tactical error." She laughed and shook her head. "You're lucky you're charming." I poured more coffee. "I know." I looked out the window again. That house, the one I used to call home, it was just a shadow now. Cold. Empty. Dark. But mine, this place was light. Camilla came back and wrapped an arm around my shoulder. "You ever think about what would have happened if you didn't move in next door?" "Sometimes," I said. Then I remember that guy I used to be. He would have never made it through the front door. Squeezed my arm gently. "Well, I'm glad you did." "Me too." The music played low. Her niece hummed softly. Still puzzling, my heart felt quiet, in the best way. I wasn't rich, wasn't famous, but I was free. Rachel told me to sleep on the couch, so I bought the house next door, and I never looked back.